Hello, Anthem fans, and welcome to Freelancer Radio, your home for all things Anthem. I'm KJ, and I'll be your host this evening. And with me, to round out the rest of my crew, is Justin, Andrew,
what's up, peoples,
and Marlon.
Good evening, guys. Hope everybody's doing good.
Well, it has been a very interesting week in the world of Anthem. Having a lot of fun. We've been doing a lot of good things along the lines of social media. Our podcast has definitely been doing quite well. We appreciate your listenership. Like, share, and subscribe to our platform, please. We will be starting things off talking about some of the events that have been going on in Anthem. So one of the events that happened, kind of wrapped up earlier this week, was the Beast of the Fields Part 1. And in this event, you would basically go out into free play and kill a bunch of predators. Seems pretty simple, right, guys?
And, you know,
it's.
I mean, if you think taking down
fun.
a Titan is simple, then
it's fun, but it can get really overwhelming really fast if you're not ready for it. I can say that. Okay, at least I can say that.
So I mean, have you? How did you feel with the gameplay of the Titans themselves, with the fireballs and the way that they come at you and stuff like that? What do you think, Marlon?
If you're not going there with inscriptions that are negating elemental damage, you are not gonna have a good time. I'll tell you that. Okay, it's fun. I mean, the thing about it is that it's fun when you're playing for a couple of times. Let's say 2 hours, 3 hours. But when you're stuck in it and you're constantly being barraged by fireballs, constantly being just surrounded by enemies and stuff like that, and you're not ready for it. Let me tell you, I was not having fun by the end of it. I was just really getting fed up with the fact that I felt like I could kill them, but then something would happen and I would get one shot. And then I'd just be like, okay, well, there goes that. Because the thing for me is that even though I am lower level than you, KJ, I thought I could actually do something with my friends and try to get to, contribute to the team. I wasn't doing anything like that. I was just it was just bad. I'll be the first one to call myself out on that.
For those of you who haven't tried it and who's going to try it, I have 5 things of advice for you. 5 little pieces of advice. Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Just keep on going. That's all I can do.
I think
from the man that doesn't know movies,
I think we found our
it's like the one
name.
movie Justin knows.
the one that he knows. He likes to quote it every single time.
And you think if you can dodge a fireball, you can dodge the fire rings from the Titan. No, you can't. There's a distinct difference in those two fighting tactics. So.
Well, one of the things that I've realized, and it really kind of went to the play style that I originally started out with when fighting enemies, is, I enjoyed flying around the map, and then I would get to a group of enemies and I would land, and then I would start taking them on. But as I'm fighting these, the larger enemies, like the Ursics and the Titans and things like that, I'm finding that you need to fly. Because when those waves come through, those waves roll through on that Titan, it's best just to fly and get up high real quick.
Yeah.
And get out of the way. And that barrel roll that my Ranger does is
Yeah.
a really good way of evading those fireballs as they're flying towards you. Or if you do the quick dash to the left or the right. I haven't really used an interceptor all that much, but I can imagine that that's probably the best way to be evading things as an interceptor as well.
You know, I played with Andrew a couple of times, and the one time that I did play with him, and he was a Colossus. We were taking on a bunch of small ads. So I'm kind of curious to how his approach is with the Titan, with the Colossus. I mean, he can't be dodging and dipping and diving like the rest of us in this big old. I have yet to see him, you know.
He's probably
A lot of attacks you just block, man. I mean,
block,
you
but-
don't-
put up a shield. That's it. You
you
know.
just put that shield up and hope he doesn't follow up and destroy your shield.
For me, I'll tell you a bit of a funny story that happened while we were talking about the Titan. So basically, I'm a storm main. That's basically what I've been for the past weeks that the game has been out. But I was in an instance where there was 2 interceptors. Okay, we were fighting a Titan, and he basically decided to do his like fireball and rings coming out from hell. So I thought I was watching a ballet dance. I thought I was watching 2 people who knew how to play an interceptor because they were jumping, twirling, hovering, going down and evading all the rings back and forth without at the same time. It was the most synchronized thing I have ever seen in time, the entire time that I've been playing this game. And I wish I would have recorded this because, man, let me tell you, it was hilarious in the sense of they were just going at the same time, just jumping up and down, hovering up and down, and the fires were not hitting them. They were just hitting the Titan constantly with their guns and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, okay, I need to get myself an interceptor, and I need to get him now.
You know that those 2 probably practice all the time.
They
They're
were
in the
playing.
same room with the same monitor, or maybe 2 separate monitors, just going at it with each other.
It's
Now.
one guy with 2
Now.
controllers going back.
Now.
So the cool thing with this this Beast of the Fields part 1 is that you were going out and you were trying to wipe out all these predators. Now, I mean, the achievement at the end of it wasn't really that great. I mean, you got a little bit of extra coin, but I mean, honestly, it's going to be something that apparently is going to be reoccurring. So it's just really something for us to gain a little bit of extra coin during a month or something like that. But one of the things, the activities that came along with this is as you were flying around free play, all of a sudden you would get a call from a group of Arcanists. You would meet up with them and you would end up protecting them from 2 different Ursics kind of at the same time while you're protecting this group. So typically an Ursics can be pretty tough, especially if you're fighting them on GM2, GM3.
Right.
Can be really, really devastating when they hit you with the rocks or something like that. But then at the same time, you're trying to protect this group of Arcanists from the 2 Ursics at the same time. So it got a little hairy at times. I did end up completing it. It was pretty cool. Like I said, you don't get anything like you did with the There Be Titans one where you got the vinyl if you defeated all 4 of the named Titans.
Nice.
But it was, it was a pretty cool activity. Now, the next thing that's going on apparently is the Beast of the Fields Part 2. And we had a little bit of a discussion in the pre-show about this. So, I mean, Justin, you said that you thought maybe that Grabbits might be involved in this, right?
I mean, if you look at the cover of Beast of the Field Part 2, there's 2 Grabbits, one staring right at you at the cover, right at, like, it's looking into your soul. So, if anything, it's that Grabbit Overlord that you might have to watch out for.
The Grabbit Overlord guy, man, he's back at it again. I've been going back and forth with him on Twitter all week, just having a good old time, honestly.
Yeah, we noticed that.
we go back and forth pretty often, actually. Yeah, so I mean, who knows whether the Grabbits are good or evil or whatever. I just say don't trust them. Trust but verify. That's always been my opinion on things. But part of the Beast of the Fields Part 2 that they've mentioned is that the flora and the fauna are acting kind of strange in the northwest corner of the map.
See, that's interesting.
So I did some traveling around there last night just to kind of see what was going on. And now I've seen it before where you'll hit like certain, I don't know whether you want to call them trees or something, but certain plants.
Right.
And something will kind of emit from them. But what I noticed is that there's stuff that's actually just emitting things anyway.
Mm.
And I was also wondering if maybe something was starting up with this scar infestation one as well, because as I was traveling around, I saw some different scars that I hadn't seen before, like kind of had like a different name. And to be honest with you, I don't remember exactly what the name was, but it was definitely something different than what I had seen. It was like a slightly altered version of what we were fighting previously.
Right. I love this cool little weekly mini events that BioWare's been doing with Anthem. I just wish they would do a little bit more on, advertising it to, in the game, or at least advertise it, more on social media. So, hey, listen, there's a new event coming out. Go out and have some fun. Maybe you get more loot, stuff like that.
And we talked a little bit about that last week, where Goose had brought up that he thought maybe it was a little bit of a double-edged sword, and I understand that, but if they're going to have the events, they might as well announce them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's nobody wants to be that one guy. Raises my hand because it has happened to me, where you find out there's a cool event going on, and then you run towards the game, pop it in, about to play. Oh, sorry, that event lasted until yesterday. Thank you for playing. And you're like, there goes my day. So I prefer when they announce things, just so I know there's something going on that I can look forward to when I'm playing Anthem. Just my take on it.
Yeah. And so far as the Scar event thing, the Scar infestation thing, like I did run into an Ascari, which is the same.
The spider
tank thing. Yeah, that I ran into one of those out in the middle of free play.
Interesting.
That's the first time I've done that. So
it's like a once or twice kind of thing, or this is like multiple times.
They really aren't giving us too much information regarding it. So I honestly couldn't tell you whether this is something that's going to be ongoing throughout the months.
They are sticking to their word that the map will be getting updated, and the environment will be changing constantly. So they are keeping their end of the bargain, BioWare.
Yes, they do. And I gotta give them props for that.
It's definitely true. So we got a little bit over events, but one of the big things that happened this week is we finally got an update to the loot store.
Woo!
It's exciting. New armor set for the Ranger and the Storm. Then the loot store rolled over, and we went back to old stuff. We did get a couple like little new vinyls and things like that. I picked up the one that looks like the Tyrant from the Tyrant mine.
Yes, that was cool.
I picked up the vinyl for that. That was pretty cool. And I did pick up the Ranger armor. I've been using only the legs from it. I thought the rest of it looked kind of odd, but it's a pretty cool set. It just doesn't fit with the look that I was trying to do for my Ranger.
I find it like, as a Ranger, he's kind of like the more leaned out kind of, build. But if I had an armor set that looked big and beefy and bulky, where it's like almost a Colossus size, I would never put it on. I can't do big, beefy, and bulky. So,
well, I thought that was funny that the Storm one, like the one person posted it looking like McDonald's French fries.
God, don't even get me.
I gotta see that one.
Dude, it's great.
Dude, let me tell you this. When I saw that, I did a double take. I literally went, "Wait, what? Nah."
Yeah, I shot the guy back when he first posted it. I shot him back on Twitter there. I said, like, Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
God.
I saw one actually. I forgot where it was posted, but it was the one that he looked like an Assassin's Creed Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2. You know, because he has the cape, the storm,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it was
Okay.
really really interesting. I saw that and I was like, damn, I wish I thought of something like that.
Yeah, some of this Javelin designs and stuff that people are coming up with are pretty amazing.
Just
You know,
on point.
Maybe for the Batman one or Aquaman one.
somebody's done a couple different Pokemon ones as well
Don't even
that I saw out there. Which I thought was pretty interesting.
Dude, when somebody
Um,
did the Mewtwo thing, I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm done with this game. You made him green and pink. I'm like, how are you doing this? They went for the shiny Mewtwo, and I'm like, oh, you kidding me? God, that was just like... And the worst thing about it, that they did it on the Interceptor. For me, it was like, okay, we're going that route, huh? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Fair
that's the
enough.
beauty of giving players the freedom of customability. Though I mean, you could do whatever. You
Well,
can do whatever.
they have a new set coming out for the Colossus, and they have a new set coming out for the Interceptor that kind of goes along with this same group of sets. Um, and those sets, man, I'll tell you, the Interceptor is really, really cool looking.
Yeah.
Colossus is pretty cool looking too. I don't think it has if I remember correctly, I don't think it has a dome.
Oh.
Yeah, it just has, it's like a little bit bulkier, but it looks more like a power armor type look, like a Space Marine or something like that, instead of having that big shield that comes down over the front of the head.
Right.
So I'm hopeful that when the store rolls over here, we'll be posting this Thursday, so that'll be happening Friday. I'm hoping that maybe those two sets will show up at that time on Friday of this week.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. I'd probably grab up another set. I don't know which one I would grab up. I haven't played Colossus yet at all. I think, Andrew, you're the only one that's playing Colossus, actually.
Here, yeah, a few of our other friends play Colossus. It's that shield is pretty much all there is to it. But yeah, I'm curious about that design you were talking about with without the dome.
The shield.
Yeah,
I
that
thought you were talking about the French fry one.
no, without the dome. The two armor sets I have is the default one, and then the Legion of Dawn one.
Yep.
And yeah, both of them have a big old dome on it. So that's the one part I don't, I guess, really care for on the Colossus. But I'd be interested to see, I guess, a design without that.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool. And then, we'll get into it a little bit later in the show when we go over stuff involving the live stream. But there's definitely a lot more vanity items that are coming to Anthem relatively soon. So hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more armor involved in that. I mean, that is definitely something that a lot of people are talking about, is more armor. And obviously it's just a look thing. It doesn't really affect your strength or anything like that. But I mean, people want to be in a game with the ability to customize as many things as you're able to customize in this game, and want a variety of different things to pick and choose to keep building that customization.
Yeah.
And really make things their own. Hopefully Go ahead.
That's the great part about this. I mean, think about it. I mean, you can be the flyest looking guy out on the field, but you could completely suck at this game and just keep getting down constantly. It's like me and Marlon. If me and Marlon go to the gym, he can look so good in his brand new flashy gear, and I'm over there pumping out 325 on the bar. So, I mean, think about it.
Like what's his name? Like it says, you gotta bring the thunder.
Yeah, I'm going to ask everybody to please go over to our Instagram and look at the picture of Justin, and then just picture him pushing out 325 on the bar.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, 325. What? Do you miss like a decimal point somewhere? Maybe
No, I'm just saying,
after the three.
I'm just saying. I never said 325. I just said 325. That's 3 pounds, 25.
0.325 pounds.
In two hands.
Hey, but at least I'm there doing the work. Marlon just looks fly in his brand new Nikes and his brand new Adidas gear. Well,
I work
that's
my
him
butt
him in gameplay. I'm telling you, that's him in gameplay. That's why he's the Where's Marlon? Where's Marlon? That's him.
No,
in gameplay.
listen. Let me tell you this. I don't want to hear this from Mister. Keeps getting down by the Titans, and I have to, me being the one who apparently does not play good in this game, go out there and revive you so you can then die a minute or a second later. I don't want to hear that from you. Okay, so getting it back to the topic, KJ, just please. Before I roast Justin right now,
there's definitely some more armor vanity items that are going to be rolling out. That's exciting to see. People will be able to customize their characters a lot more from where they're going. I mean, I've been looking at the Javelin runway on Reddit, a lot of the different posts and stuff that are going on Instagram, Twitter. There's a lot of really cool ideas out there. All kinds of things from Power Rangers to Pokemon versions of Javelins. The one guy did a grab it version of a storm. There's all kinds of neat stuff out there. It's been really cool just to kind of see the creativity of the community.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to put some stuff out there too. Mine's not so fantastic, I guess, but anyway, I'm having fun with it. I go in there and I fiddle around with different colors and things all the time and put stuff out there. So, okay, well, let's move down our list here of things we want to talk about. So, let's get into a little bit more of a serious topic, power scaling. There's been some really good posts on power scaling, by virtue of Reddit. I've seen people take those Reddit posts and then post them over to Twitter, trying to let the community know about how things are working. Basically, Marlon, you want to talk a little bit about how this works with the power scaling?
So basically, the whole thing with power scaling is that Anthem makes you think that all your inscriptions, all your legendary gear, masterwork gear, everything has a value, okay? And it makes you think that everything contributes to said value. But when people start doing the testing and start doing everything that BioWare unfortunately doesn't want to, put in the main menus like stats and stuff like that, when they went in there to actually test out some of these things that were happening, they realized that what mattered wasn't the numbers that your weapons had. What mattered was the type of quality that you were using. For example, if you were using, it didn't matter if you had one legendary weapon or one legendary item, or all was decked out on legendary. As long as you have that specific or singular legendary item, it will scale your power level based on that. So you had instances where basically you could just put everything common, put 2 legendary items into your build, and basically wreck house.
What people were doing is that they were literally removing all of the support items from the build completely, and then loading up a couple legendaries. And honestly, I mean, they were a glass house to where they didn't really have a lot of defense, but the amount
one-shotting everything.
Yeah, there was one guy who I think he did like 1 million damage ultimate while doing this. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. So,
so in my notes, it says there's this, there's 3 words: loot doesn't matter.
Yeah,
in the power scaling.
It does.
I wouldn't say it like that.
I mean, I wouldn't say it completely doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter to an extent, because, I mean, basically, if you can take off all of your support items and just have 2 legendary weapons,
right,
and you're doing more damage, just based off of that, than some guy who has put filled every slot that he has with the support items, and his inscriptions in some ways are, and his level of his weapons or the support items are somehow working against them because of the power scaling, then it just seems a little bit ridiculous. I mean, obviously the system is broken, and BioWare, to their credit, have acknowledged this. They are working on some stuff. Unfortunately, the problem is that the scaling, the loot, the inscriptions, all of these things are all kind of tied in with each other.
Yes.
So like, that's the thing that like that's the thing that makes me bring this up. What's with this boycott then? What was with this post of last week of players are going to be boycotting Anthem because of loot drops, and now you have this power scaling thing going on when loot obviously doesn't matter now.
Right. So here's the problem. Okay, the reason why people were boycotting or attempting to boycott Anthem was because they didn't understand how the system was being used in game. They were going by the notion that the loot,
the colors of their drop,
matters. They weren't getting the legendaries that they wanted. The amount of legendaries that they wanted.
And that their builds that were creating, let's say like blast builds, ice builds, acid builds, that those were the main factor that basically was creating their feeling of powerful gear. But when we started looking at the testing, when people were getting into the meat and potatoes of the whole thing, is that they realized that that's not how the system works, and people then realize, it doesn't matter what kind of gear you have as long as you have a powerful gear equipped, specifically a legendary one.
The problem is that the formula, the system was intended to work. The way they built the formula in the background versus the way the system was intended to work are actually working against each other.
Thank you. That's
the problem.
What's happening.
Right? So the idea from the beginning was that you were going to gather this loot, you were going to build these things. The amount of legendary drops, the amount of masterwork drops, all of these things, they should matter. They should.
Right.
Because you're trying to get those inscriptions. You're trying to create that build. You're trying to put together your Javelin in the way that you want them to function and provide damage, right? But the way that it's working in the background with the formulas really doesn't have anything to do with that. If I have 2 legendary weapons, I go to my Javelin right now, and I create a new Javelin, but I go back to the default to where he has no support items or anything else on there. Okay. Yeah. And then I take 2 of my legendary weapons and I stick it on that Javelin, and I go out there and I start using my ultimate on things. I'm going to do close to 1 million damage right now.
Right.
And that's not the way it's supposed to work. Right. I have a feeling that you remember we talked about, I think it was last week or it might have even been the week before, we talked about the Defender gun, like the first weapon.
Yeah.
Right.
And how that was doing more damage than some of the legendaries and things like that. I have a feeling that all goes back to this.
So
that was part of what was involved in that Defender gun doing what it was doing. Has to do with this power scaling problem, whatever that. I don't understand enough about the math on it. All I know is the skinny of it. The skinny of it is
it's basically taking the average of everything that's not everything above 0. So if you have 1 weapon, it's going to divide that by 1, essentially.
Right. So that's
your power level. Let's say you have a power level of 100 item. I'm just throwing that number out there. Divide by 1, you're gonna come out there at level 100, even though the rest of your gear is level 0.
Yep.
If you go out there with 2 items above 0, it's gonna take, let's say, 100 and a 50 item. Now it's taking 150 divided by 2. Now your power level is 75.
Yep.
See, now I'm getting a little confused because I'm so used to like the Destiny style.
Yeah,
power.
It's almost like Destiny, but it's not averaging the rest of the equipment out correctly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Think of it
so
like this.
I'm doing the very last raid at full power and on Destiny 1, for example, and then I go back to do Atheon. I'm figured, oh, we're power level 50 already, but Andrew has to explain it to me every single time. It's not based on your power or on your level. It's
So
based on
they need to just basically change the formula to where it takes the average of every single piece of equipment you have equipped, and then that would accurate or get your true power level correct.
Yeah, and if you don't have anything equipped, that needs to be counted as 0 or as
Thank you.
1 in order to scale you down. And I don't even think it really needs to be that. I mean, honestly, it should just be something to where all of the pieces add up, right? Because if you add, let's just say every piece is worth 100, right? Let's just make it easy math, right? You've got 10 pieces of gear and you have every piece is worth 100. Well, if you're 1,000 power level, then you're 1,000 power level, and if your one piece is, at 75 and you have 9 pieces, that are at 100, then you're going to be at 975.
Yeah, but the problem that the system has, the way that it's written right now, it's basically like this. Every gear that you have, your weapons, your legs, your armors, everything else, I mean, legendaries, everything else has a number that the system uses. But the melee, the ultimate, and the procs don't have a number. They use a virtual number to compensate for that, since they don't have an actual item that they use. The problem with that is that multiplier is kind of broken, shall we say. So basically, when you start getting into legendary gears and add them into your melees, into your ultimates, that's basically feeding off the multiplicative factor of the virtual number that those melees and the ultimate uses, and it tends to override it and just create this huge, massive numbers that you're seeing right now. It's
way overpowered when you use your melee or when you use your ultimate is what ends up happening.
And it's just it's a very difficult thing to fix because you have to rework the entire system from the ground up. You can't just patch it and say, oh, okay, we're gonna just make sure that this has a little note that says, hey, this doesn't work. Yeah, they can do that, and it will fix it for that instance. But the minute that they add something else into the system, it might break it up and make it even worse. The system, the example that you were talking about, Justin, the one with the Destiny. Imagine this: there is a gun right now in Destiny, Thunderlord, where it's 650, but you can equip it to a lower level character.
Right.
So it helps you power level, basically, right? Now imagine that you give that Thunderlord to a level 1 character, and he goes into Score to the Pass, and he's able to do 1,000,000 damage to the boss because he's using his super on it. Do you understand how broken that sounds?
Right, and you're looking at it at a PvE perspective, but the thing is that I have to go back to Destiny on this. Is that you have PvP balance on there too, so it's not like you go in as a level 1, you're gonna go play competitive, and your power level should matter. I mean, Anthem is all PvE, so why can't it just like start from the system ground up and fix it? I'm not saying it's a 2-day fix, but
the problem is that there's interconnected systems in the background that are all playing off of each other. So when you tweak one, it then affects other things in the game. And that's what the problem is. And that's why all of these, based on the information from the live stream today, they are very well aware of what the problems are and where they're going directionally with the game, which is a really good thing. I'm very excited to hear that part of it. It's like, okay, these guys have got it. They understand where the issues are. But the problem is that they're going to have to work this out in incremental fixes because if they go in there and they tweak something, then there may be unintended consequences in several other areas in the game, and they're going to have to figure it out. It's basically like rewriting a lot of the code in the background on this, and you don't want to just push it all out at one time, because if you do
dive in head first,
then then they're going to hit another brick wall, and that's going to be a total mess for them. I mean, they're in reaction mode right now. They're on defense, not on offense.
Right.
So,
good analogy.
They're working to try to make the game better, and every time they go in there and one of their tweaks then creates another problem, it just ends up making people more angry at the game.
Here,
So-
let me just give you some numbers so you can understand how bad this is.
Oh no, he's going to get into numbers. No, I'm really going to be lost.
Hold on.
No,
I gotta
no,
go.
just-
If you
No,
work
no,
out
no.
an algebraic equation, brother,
Yeah, I'm
I
on
don't
it.
know.
No,
I'm-
no. I
I'm
just want to tell you
I'm
how
jumping off the
broken
balcony.
the system is. I just want to tell you how broken the system is. If you were to put epic gear throughout your entire Javelin, if you were to do, and the way that the system reads it, you would do times 13. If
Times
you were to
13
put
damage when you're
yeah.
saying that? Okay.
on your ultimate and your proc, if
Gotcha.
you put full legendary gear, you do times 169.
I hear you.
Wow. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
But there's also some stuff there's some things going on in the game where you cannot put full legendary gear on. Like
Exactly.
with my Ranger, I've got the little support bubble deal, and they don't even have masterwork or legendary versions of that in the game yet.
So you put basically the times.
So that actually hurts me.
Exactly. So it's just one of
Technically,
those
it's
things where it
hurting
just
me
makes
right
you go like, what the hell is going on? But I want to see what Bioware does. I really want them to fix it, but I don't want it to, like you said, KJ, I don't want them to rush it. I think they should take their time and just fix it little by little, because, I mean, what if, let's say, hypothesis over here, theory, if they decide to fix it, but it ends up, harming the people in PC because it ends up, causing something in their system that basically overloads the RAM because of it, because how it's interconnected with the system in the background. It's something that you don't want to go.
I'm
honestly.
sure they're running test servers and stuff like that where they're running by all these updates and everything before they ever put it live. So that's why you're not seeing updates come
Constantly,
through right
yeah.
away, because they're still working on that stuff on
I say this.
a not
Who
live
cares about
server.
PC? Because they get stuff better than we get anyways on console. But we'll get back to that later in the live stream review.
That's a good one. I like that one. Guy
Oh
is
my
petty.
gosh.
He's petty.
He does. He's got his petty pants on, man. He's got
You
his
know
petty
what? Call me Mr. Petty. Shoot. I'm gonna change my Instagram name right now, Mr. Petty.
The Mr.
Y'all
Petty.
looking at Mr. Petty?
So after, power scaling, we've gone over that a little bit, and I don't know, sometimes in what we're talking about, I get a little bit more confused than I am straightened out on this stuff. But basically it boils down to, in some instances, your loot is actually hurting you.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And they started a boycott last week.
Yeah, it's just not averaging out correctly.
What a bunch of fools. No, I'm just kidding. I love all you guys.
Anyway, so the other thing that a lot of people have been talking about is the luck stat, because people are a little bit aggravated with this, the way that this luck stat is. The devs have come out, they kind of explained how it works. It's a tier system. We went over that in our episode number 1.
Yes.
How
There's another
luck
formula
works.
there, listeners.
But this is episode number 5. So that means if you just started listening this week, please go back and listen to our other 4 episodes. Anyway, back to the luck stat. So we talked a little bit about how the luck stat worked based on what the devs had told us. But people are getting really aggravated with this thing because apparently, there's been a lot of testing going on involving the luck stat. It's supposed to top out at a plus 90%. A lot of people are doing like plus 89 because they're saying that they're believing that once you hit plus 90, it actually starts working against you. There's been some other testing going on where people have found that when they're running in groups with everybody with high luck, then there's even better drops for everybody in the group. And then if you're the only person in the group that has a good luck stat and everybody else has a poor luck stat in your group, then you're getting worse drops.
You're SOL.
I mean, it's just
Wow.
like, so, and then there's also, there's the same issue that they had, and I think it was in Diablo. Was it Diablo 2? Where the luck stat, like people would put together these luck builds. And so they
Yeah.
would go into fight in a stronghold or something like that against the major boss. And they're basically being carried by everybody around them
Yeah.
because they're running high luck.
Yeah.
And they're not helping out their build to perform with any damage. So people are a little frustrated with that as well. So I put together a small solution on Reddit, or what I thought might be a solution on Reddit,
Bioware, please hire KJ.
where basically what I suggested is that they pull luck out of the build completely. And what they did is that they added luck in percentages into bounties. So if you did so many bounties during a month, they would have luck percentages tied to them. And so let's say you completed 10 bounties, then you would get 10% additional luck for every bounty that you completed. And it would have to be special bounties involved in this. But once you completed 10, the following month when it came up, you would get additional luck for that following month. That's my thoughts if you were keeping it in the system. There's also some things that you might have been able to do with some of the materials that we have left over, like the greens and the blues and the purple embers. Maybe you can do something with those to where you could purchase luck, or maybe we get a lucky grabbit's foot by killing so many grabbits out in the wild, since that's one of my favorite pastimes. I mean,
That's a
there's
sign of a
all.
serial killer.
Andrew's is like,
Andrew's,
I'm not having
like
this.
shaking his head no, because he's like,
I'm
man,
pro
shut up,
grabbit.
man. I love the grabbits. The
He's like,
grabbits are
pro.
my friends, man. Don't. You know what it is? Andrew's the grabbit overlord. We just don't know it.
Yeah, we don't. That's why he wasn't here last week.
Gosh.
He
I'll
was
tell
so
you.
he was so pissed at me for talking trash to him all week long on Twitter. The grabbit overlord, with his grabbit overlord persona. That's why it was like, it's like, oh yeah, man, I'm moving. I can't be a part of the show
Yeah.
this week.
Honestly, I think what they should have done is they should have like an inscription that says "Grabbit's lucky foot," and you put it on, and it gives you like a 65% luck whenever you kill a grabbit, something like that. I feel like
Nice.
they should not do away with the luck stat. I think what they, like KJ say, I think that what they should do is rework it so that it is not consistent. It's not contingent on your weapons or your armor. It is contingent on just a specific item, like Destiny has, fire team medallions, where basically you pop them in and you give a static boost to the luck to everybody in the party, something like that.
We had the 3 of coins there for a while too, right? And Destiny
Never
wasn't
work.
that-
They never work. They never worked.
They
I don't
did.
care
They
what
did.
anyone
Remember they
tells
worked on
me.
that one
They
mission.
never worked for me. Okay, I spend so
Or
much.
you can bring in Joe's Lord and Savior, RN Jesus, because
Jesus,
he just
yeah.
loves Joe.
I know he does, dude.
No.
Joe is
and
so
Lee,
blessed by RN Jesus.
Joe and Lee are the two types of guys that they would put 5, of this, anthems, lucky rabbits, medallion thing, and they will get all the loot, and none of us will get all the loot,
We'll have to bring those guys on the show so that the listeners actually know who these guys are. We'll have to bring them on the show one
Those guys have
time.
such luck, man.
And,
I swear.
They really are. They're like luck hounds, man. They just sniff it out. They're able to get all of the exotics, legendary things first. It's ridiculous how often these guys get these things, and it's not like they play any more than the rest of us either.
No.
No.
Let me tell you something. This is how they could be like that. For example, we could be playing a free play, and Joe could be out. Oh, there's an enemy over there, a Scar. Let me go kill it. Two Master Wars will pop in out of nowhere. And you're like, how do you keep doing this? How do you keep making this appear out of thin air? It's like, I don't know. I guess I'm just lucky.
Yeah, so
Joe.
with the luck stat itself, I mean, there's three options: you remove it, you improve it, or you change it.
Yeah.
It did seem in the live stream today that one of the devs there, I think his name was Chris, had he didn't come out and say it, but it sounded like he was kind of on the train for removing it.
Nice.
So, I think you increase the loot tables, you increase the amount of loot drops, you increase the amount of actual loot drops from enemies themselves. One of the things that bothers me is that you go into a stronghold, you kill like this major boss that you just spent 20, 30 minutes shooting, and then you get 5 items and 4 of them are purples and you get 1 masterwork. Now, supposedly with some of the things that are changes are coming, that's supposed to be being reworked and things like that, especially as you get into Grandmaster 2, Grandmaster 3. But at the same time, I really want an explosion of loot, even though it doesn't matter at this point. I just want to have an explosion of loot. I just want it like all over the place to where I got to run around for a minute or two to pick up everything. And it just, the floor glows in orange and yellow and purple.
You tell him put in a
He
loot
wants
cave.
Borderlands back. Let's leave it like that. Okay.
Like Borderlands or Diablo or something like
Like
that. When you kill a
Diablo, I
boss,
guess,
it just
yeah.
loot flies all over the place.
God.
I just think that would be so cool, just to see. And I think this is the type of game that needs
Benefit
that.
from it. Yeah.
Yeah, it really could benefit from having that. So
Maybe they'll do it on the aspirational content. Maybe they'll do it then.
I know.
Nice.
Well, we're still waiting for all of the aspirational content, and it sounds like some of it might be coming sooner rather than later. So that's exciting as well. So Jesse, the community manager, responded to a Reddit post.
Yay.
It was on the 13th of this month. We actually started to get into it a little bit at the end of the show. It was like he actually posted it kind of as we were wrapping on the show last week, and we were just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is going on. It's like breaking news, right? So I've had a little bit of time to digest this. I kind of went over it. Main points of the message were respectful, constructive feedback will equal more developer responses and engagement. Basically, you're not seeing as much responses. The community is not seeing very many responses from the developers themselves. They're seeing some, but not a lot. And that is because the community's gone so negative on things. They get nasty. They're spamming these guys with questions and not being very respectful, or it's not really constructive criticism in a lot of ways. They understand that there are problems and they are working towards fixing those problems. It shows in everything that they're doing, but he was just letting the community know that, hey, you want more developer engagement with the community, you've got to be a little bit more respectful in the way that we go about things as a community towards the developers. And then they'll start engaging us more. Second topic that they discussed.
Well, real quick, did you read that in a very positive, moving way, or what?
I think so. I believe that the developers do want to engage with the community, but I mean, if you're
if you're bashing them, they're not good.
Well, it's not their job. That's not what they're there for.
Right.
That's what the community manager's there to take all the brunt of everything, right?
Good for him.
So, that's what he gets paid for.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't your job to sit there and, deal with people being nasty to you, why would you do it?
Your job is to fix the game. Your job is not to deal with immature people complaining about a game, even though you're already telling them, hey, listen, we're working on it. We're trying to fix things. Just give us a little bit more time. But the community is very fickle. They can act very, toddler-esque
I want it
certain
now.
times. And
Well, and understandably, the community definitely has a point. Okay, the game did not deliver in the way that we expected from the beginning.
At launch.
At
Let's
launch.
make that clear.
Okay, it is moving in the right direction. We have seen other games like this before. Okay, Destiny 1, Destiny 2, Division 1, all have been
Warframe
in the same boat at some point, right?
No Man's Sky. Oh, I'm sorry.
No Man's Sky, true. Diablo 2, right, as well, was another one that had problems.
You just see Andrew shaking his head in the background. He's not even speaking. He's just shaking his head.
He knows. He knows what's going on. His mind going.
He just shot himself. He's dead. Andrew's dead.
He cannot handle the fact that the Grabbits are taking over the world.
But understandably, there's issues with the game, and people are upset about it. But there's a way to go about things, and the ways not to go about things. I tend to lean towards the side of the guys over at Low Sodium Anthem on Reddit versus the regular Anthem Reddit. Not that there isn't good information on the regular Anthem Reddit as well, and I've posted stuff at both, and I look at both on a daily basis for new information. But I just think there's a better way of going about things. So the other thing that he talked about was that they're working on things in a way where they're basically going to be going for low-hanging fruit. The things that they can fix quickly, they're going to fix quickly. The things that are going to take time, they're going to do it in increments, and it's going to be fixed over time. So you aren't going to see some all-failing swoop to where everything's fixed in one update. It's going to incrementally be fixed, and we'll get into some of the stuff that they are making those incremental fixes in the live stream. When we talk about the live stream stuff, he's going to provide better patch notes. He brought up that he made a mistake last time. Things are moving a million miles an hour. He's getting all these notes in from all these different people on their side. He's trying to put it together in patch notes, and he made a mistake. People make mistakes. I'm okay with that.
We're all human.
But people were calling him out, saying they were trying to hide things and whatever else. And I don't believe that at all, that's what they were trying to do. But the big thing that came out of that message is that Anthem is here to stay. Anthem's here to stay. So they've got the backing of EA. There were some really good numbers and financials that came out. And, this week in regards to Anthem and sales numbers and things like that, BioWare has the support of EA. So, I'm excited about that. That makes me excited. What do you think, Justin?
I mean, that is such a positive, motivator right there, that they are here to stay. They're not going to let anybody get in their way from making this the game that, we all perceive to see, or, that it's going to be coming. They're going to be fixing these things. They're going to keep going. Yeah, I love it. It looks really good. One of the things is I've been playing a little bit of Division, and and on the last thing that we talked about on last week's show was that people were complaining that their PS4 systems were crashing, and and they had they were scared, like, oh, their data is corrupted. That literally happened to me over the weekend playing Division.
And it happened to me too.
And that just goes to show that it can happen to any game, any new release game. So, yeah, and the fact that they made that statement, Anthem is here to stay. They're not leaving. They're not backing down. They're going to do what they're here to do. It shows more hope than that happened to the other BioWare studio that did Mass Effect Andromeda, you know, and EA's backing them up. And it's confidence, positivity right there. I love that. I absolutely love that.
You got any thoughts on that one, Andrew?
As I've mentioned previously in other shows, I mean, it's nice to, I guess that the Bioware's been very responsive, and then now that they even have EA's backing on this game, it makes me even more excited to what this game's going to be like a few months down the road. I'm hoping it's something very similar to maybe even like Forsaken type thing for Destiny, just completely revitalize this game a few months once a lot of these bugs and issues are worked out. But
yeah,
and something to say.
Yeah, one of the things that I tend to forget, right, is that all of these studios have different teams, right? So you've got the live game guys that are really working on all of these fixes right now, but there's a whole nother team that's working on new content at the same time. Because I mean, we saw.
Oh yeah, you have Dragon Age 4 that's supposed to be releasing, or they teased it, and then I'm sure there's some unknown or unnamed project they're working on as well. That
I thought they might have another Mass Effect coming or something too.
What?
I haven't heard anything about that one yet, but
I could have swore I heard something yesterday about that. I mean,
blasphemy.
Possibly. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm getting old.
Yeah, it's that old guy reading, man. You need to put your glasses on, KJ.
It would be nice. Would be nice. I still have all my old data. I'm just saying, like, if they wanted to come out with a Mass Effect 4, I have played all the other ones, and I would love for the storyline to continue on. It would.
So real quick, just on a side note, Mass Effect Andromeda is not Mass Effect 4.
No, it is not.
No.
Okay, coming from a guy who I haven't played any of the Mass Effect except Andromeda, I'm just making that very clear to myself.
If I'm not mistaken, Mass Effect Andromeda kind of takes place or started in between, I guess, 2 and 3 maybe. Like something happened where they went somewhere else for safety, but that's a whole nother discussion for a whole other time.
That's another podcast. You go find that podcast team over there, and they'll talk about Mass Effect. They're probably already on episode 500 something, maybe even more than that from the first Mass Effect.
A great game though. One of my all-time favorites for sure.
I was too scared to play them.
But yeah, no. I mean, the good thing is that they have the support, and like I said, you know, they showed earlier this week, they showed some of the voice actors back in the studio as well. So, you know, that hints at new content coming. And the girl that plays, I can never remember her name. Starts with a T. No, not Faye. I can't remember her name right now. I'm sorry. But starts with a T. It's the blonde girl that's like the spy.
Oh no,
the one that's the spy. Works for Corvus.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on her name too, with the red shirt on or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
If anyone could tweet us right now her name, that'll be really helpful.
That'd be great. No, but yeah. So the girl that plays her she was back in the booth, and she took like a photograph of the booth, and there was a bunch of the other voice actors kind of in the background as well, all at the studios there. So they're definitely putting together some more content. So that's nice to know. There are other teams that are working on. There's not just a whole bunch of BioWare guys running around trying to fix the problems with the game right now. There is actual people as well that are working on new content to come out for the game in the future. So let's get into this little live stream review.
This is the meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes, man. We watched this live stream today. It's pretty cool. Some definite new content, a lot of cool fixes and things. So we'll go over some of the stuff that they had. Anyway, the first thing is the Elysium chests, and we talked about a little bit of this in our pre-show together. But I thought this was a pretty cool idea. Basically, there's going to be a daily contract each day. That
Legendary.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually the contract itself is legendary. There are legendary contracts as well that are coming. But there's going to be, like, one of the daily contracts is going to be identified with a key symbol. And that key is basically awarded to you once you complete whatever that contract is. So, Tassin is her name. Very good. All right. So we got her name. So the legendary, the Elysium chest, basically you would complete a daily contract that would award you a key. Once you receive that key, you then can go into any stronghold, and there will be one of these Elysium chests. So
wait, when you load in, so this is one of my things. So when you load into a stronghold now, you won't load in halfway through.
No, that's another one of the fixes. They're going to be coming in at, if you can't load in after 2 minutes of play into a stronghold. So there's no more of that ending up having to fight the monitor over and over and over and over again if you go into quick play.
Right, because I hear that was one of the problems right now is that people are just jumping in, getting what they need, and then bouncing out before the
Fighting
end
the
of
boss. Yeah, because the boss
other
wasn't.
people are loading in.
They were saying the boss wasn't worth it, and
right.
So one of their changes for this upcoming patch is that they're trying to make the bosses more worth it.
I see. Okay,
So,
Or loot, basically.
Yeah,
but
or
you also
loot.
can't just jump in. So if I have a key and I jump into a quick play stronghold, I'm not going to be halfway through the stronghold. I still have a chance to get a chest.
Correct, but there's going to be, from what they're saying with the Elysium chest, there's going to be, so yeah, let's back up before we get into the more loot and everything like that. Okay, so with the Elysium chest, there's up to 4 Elysium chests that are able to be opened in a stronghold over the course of a stronghold. So basically what you would end up doing is, let's just say you're running with a team of 4 people. They all go out and they complete the daily contract. So now everybody has a key.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then you go into the stronghold as a team with 4 people, and there are 4 Elysium chests along the way. So each person can use their key to open one of those 4 chests. And from those Elysium chests is where you'll be seeing these new vanity items. Now, there's emotes, there's vinyls, there's decals, there's new armor pieces, whatever. There's a whole bunch of new stuff. I think there's over 150 new items. But basically, you could potentially get up to 4 in a stronghold. So if everybody goes in there with a key.
So right now, as far as we know, how many keys can you hold? It's only 1 daily?
Yeah. Based on the information that they gave, yes, 1 daily.
Okay. And then do we know if you can get repeat vanity items?
You know what? I don't remember them saying whether you could or not.
Okay.
I'll chime in on this one, KJ. You will not be getting repeat vanity items. Okay? So basically, whatever happens to be open on that chest, even if you don't get it, you will not be getting repeats. So if you're looking for a particular vanity item that you're set your eye into, even if you don't get on the first chest, as you keep playing throughout the weeks and stuff like that, you will eventually get it. So don't worry about it.
I mean, I'm just saying, I just don't want to get Eye of the Tiger vinyl twice.
You will not.
I'm going to be really upset.
Well, you know what the cool thing is, though? I mean, if you think about it, right? Let's just say there's 150 items that's available, right? If you're running a team of 4 people, 7 days a week, okay, That's 28 items in a given week,
Right.
right?
Good math.
So 150 divided by 28. So you're almost at 6 weeks. You're going to be just shy of 6 weeks worth of consistent gameplay
Right.
to be able to get all those vanity items.
So listeners, get to grinding.
Get to grinding. Get to grinding.
The grind is here.
And another way to keep grinding is by just making sure that you enjoy the game and just have fun with your friends. Basically, that's what makes grinding the best experience you can do. So
And
what else?
a lot of the daily contracts are not. I mean, they're not insane. The one that they showed in the live stream was one of the legendary contracts, which is another new item that they're putting into the game. So once a week, what they're going to do is they're going to take the missions that we did throughout the story. They've upgraded them, updated them, put some extra bosses and mini bosses in the middle of them for you to fight, more opportunities for regular loot drops for both legendary and masterwork, especially if you're moving up G2, G3, or GM2, GM3 levels.
What is that? That is something else they added in there.
Sorry. In those legendary contracts, basically what they did is they clipped off the cutscene at the beginning, they clipped off the cutscene at the end. You get all the stuff in the middle. If there's any cutscenes in the middle, you will have to ride them out because you got a team of 4 people, and they don't want to cut anybody short on that. But you'll be able to replay those missions at a little bit higher level and a little bit higher difficulty. You'll be able to get more loot drops. And potentially sometimes those legendary contracts will be one of the daily contracts that you need to complete to be able to get your key for the Elysium chests. So that's how that all kind of fits together. So that was, that's pretty exciting. That's more content. I know, Andrew, that's one of the things you're always saying. I'm just hoping for more content. There's some more content that's coming to the game. Now that's 6 different missions. They go in a rotation per week. So get a new mission every week. You can run it as many times as you want. And then in the meantime, they're working on other content. So hopefully that will continue to drop at a relatively satisfying rate for everyone. One of the coolest things out of this live stream is the guy was in Fort Tarsis. He went up to the forge and he pressed the button to go into the forge. No loading screen.
That is everything to me.
And
You have no idea. You know, I'm more excited about that than the more content that's coming. This is like that should have been there from the beginning.
So one thing that I really enjoyed about the fact that they did this, about putting the forge on the menu and just being able to have this ability of being able to go to the forge without loading screens, is that now that you, with all this legendary contracts and all this loot that you'll be getting, you'll be able to equip it and be able to actually see it on the fly, like right from the get-go. You don't have to just kill yourself.
You still have to complete the mission.
I know, but you can still see it now. Okay.
But at least, right
closer.
then you can equip it. You don't have to do a loading screen and do another loading screen, whatever. Yeah. No, it's
a step closer
awesome.
to being
And
on
you
the fly.
you did say something else there too, Marlon, is that it's going to be available through the menu screen as well. So when you go to your map at Fort Tarsis, you can just tab over to your forge as well, which is a little bit different in the way that they're doing things too. So that's pretty awesome that they're giving that ability. Hopefully more and more time passes, more and more of these loading screens will continue to go away, and we can start playing this game the way it was intended. That is one of the things that I was, thought was really cool about Division, although it did crash my PS4 twice. Is that there virtually is no loading screens unless you're like joining in on somebody's mission or something like that.
Yeah.
It's fairly consistent where you just kind of flow from one activity to the next.
I'll tell you, when mine crashed, my heart stopped for a moment because it said corrupted data may be there or something like that. I said, I kind of felt what the players were feeling.
Did you cry a little? Did it hurt?
I had to leave the room for a little bit, so
He felt emotionally invested in what just happened.
So the next thing that they talked about was on the PC only.
I hate you all.
So for all our PC players out there, there's going to be some field of view options, which was really kind of neat. That as I was watching the live stream, so like you could adjust the way it was underwater versus the way it was in the air versus the way it was while you're walking on the ground, and how much field of view you gave yourself. So like if you're one of those people who's underwater, you don't like how claustrophobic it feels, you can adjust that field of view to give you a better vision of your character and where they are, and be able to see more space around you. Same in the air, same on the ground. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was definitely interesting, but for PC players only.
Yeah. So you're telling me there's not enough juice in my $400 PlayStation Pro?
Yes.
No, because their PC is like a $1,200 piece of machinery or more.
Yeah. Well, whatever. If anyone wants to donate, I'm starting a Kickstarter.
It's a GoFundMe. It's not a Kickstarter. It's a GoFundMe. Okay.
Same thing. It's all the same. I'll start them both.
Oh God, he's doing a Kickstarter to do a GoFundMe. Wow. All right.
So they've got improvements to performance.
Yeah, it's basically like
performance, Justin.
Yeah, exactly. It will.
No, they have other improvements to performance. They really didn't get too much into what exactly those were, other than just overall tweaks to the performance of the game. One of the things that they kind of showed off was like the Javelin would dive into the water. Mm-hmm. And as it did that, it kind of like stutter stepped a little bit. And so that stutter went away.
Nice.
So, I mean, just
minor
things, but like he said, low hanging fruit. They're going for the small things and working their way up to the big things. So one of the things that's been a big contention in the community is you go out into free play, you get 9,000 items, and then you complete your time in free play, and then you've got 1 out of 9,000 that's good. And so you're salvaging
all of those
items. Of these things, and it just takes forever to go there and salvage. And people are wanting to do, multiple or salvage all or something like that, and they're not putting that into effect yet. It's something that they're still looking into. But what they did do is they increased the speed of salvaging the items. So it'll move a lot quicker so that you can get through that screen a little bit faster.
See, I have a small problem with that because knowing myself back in my Destiny days, if I didn't lock an item and I just start salvaging or dismantling a bunch of items, I'll just dismantle something that I didn't mean to. Happened to me on multiple occasions.
Yeah. BioWare is going to need to come with a lock button on this stuff soon.
Exactly.
Really do.
So if you're going to be moving that quickly, listeners, make sure you really pay attention to what you're salvaging.
There's been a couple times where I've, even at the speed that things salvage now, I've salvaged some things with some pretty high luck levels, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just did that. But I have. I've done it a couple times now. Yeah. Increased maximum flight time by 25%, and then decreased the overheat time by 20%. So basically you fly 25% longer. When you do overheat, you're down and not able to fly for 20% less.
That is phenomenal.
That's so much fun. I'm,
yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that, honestly.
So-
That just plays into my Iron Man fantasy.
Yeah, so you're telling me that the storm is already up in the air for almost forever, and now they're going to be in the air for forever +1.
Plus 25.
Yeah, +25.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be pretty cool. All of the javelins are receiving a buff kind of across the board. This one's kind of neat. The interceptor melee, for the regular melee, you're not going to have to sit there and button smash. All you got to do is hold down the button now, and that guy just goes to town, whirling and twirling and slicing and dicing. It will not be true of the ultimate, though. You're still going to have to button mash on the ultimate. And if you want to button mash, you can button mash, but you don't.
Don't break your controller. Or, you know what, for you PC people, don't break your keyboard.
Yeah.
Someone's a little salty.
Yeah, well.
He's got his petty pants on, man. All right, so we got, they're adding more universal components. One of the things that they talked about with the universal components, they're going to be more weapon-based. And the one that they brought up was this basically acid slugs, they said, for the shotguns. So you land 7 shots with a shotgun in a row, and all of a sudden your shotgun starts spitting acid. I mean,
Nice.
that could be pretty cool, you know? I mean, acid doesn't prime anything, but if I remember correctly, it doesn't prime anything. I don't really use acid all too much, but it does weaken enemies to be able to be primed and have better combos, if I remember the way that they have that all set up. So, but a lot of these universal inscriptions are going to be more weapon-based to improve on a lot of that building of builds like Marlon was talking about earlier. So they're going to be doing incremental improvements to the scaling, the power, all of those things. One of the first things that they're starting to do to move towards the stat sheet is, I don't know if you guys, when you look at your guy in the forge there, you have your weapons, you have some of your other items there, but like all of your support gear is not shown on that list kind of over to the right-hand side, the top right-hand side. So the first thing in moving towards getting a full stat sheet is that all of your components are also going to be listed there as well. So they're moving in that direction. And that's what they said, that was a move towards the stat sheet. So it is coming, it's on the way, not here yet. They're looking into luck. That's not on the patch though. The Masterwork Embers that everybody was so upset that pretty much stopped dropping. They're going to be coming from all different kinds of sources now.
Thank God.
Yeah, I re-roll Masterworks as much as possible myself. So that's nice to see that those are going to be coming more. They're going to be actually be coming from bosses, from chests, from materials out in the field. So there's going to be all different types of areas that those Masterwork Embers are going to be showing up that they weren't showing up before, and showing up more frequently in those locations as well. The pilot data error that kept happening, where you were trying to load in, you get like a pilot data error. That is not, I believe it's not 100% fixed, but most instances of that have been fixed.
If I could, I would have a soundboard of like children like cheering. Yay! I would totally play.
Maybe we can work that in at the post-production. Marlon can work on something like that.
I'll see what I can do. Okay. No promises there, but I'll see what I can do.
map is going to show where the free play event is. Well, it does now, shows where the free play event is, but now it has almost like an octagon around the area. That's kind of the affected space of the event in free play, I guess.
So once you enter that octagon, you're in it.
You're in it, yeah.
Whether you fire or not, if you just pass that little line, that little border, you're in it.
You're in it.
Got it.
The large creatures like Titans, Ursix, things like that. What was happening is people were fighting those. They were taking a while. As they were fighting them, a world event would spawn. And then when that world event spawned, the Titan, the Ursix, whatever it was, would just disappear. So they have fixed those characters despawning when a world event activates. So that has been fixed. That's pretty much covering most of the big stuff. I mean, what are your impressions about some of these fixes here, Andrew?
I'm liking most of what I'm hearing. Any buffs are always good. More embers, of course. One thing I didn't catch the full stream. Did they mention anything about the fog walls or fog doors?
You're right. They did mention that they're removing more fog walls as well.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
a good catch. Yeah. They did.
Has been an issue.
Yeah.
I'm glad
And
they're trying to do something about that as well.
one of the other things that they mentioned is one of the places where the fog walls were really prevalent was the Temple of the Scar stronghold. So if you get stuck behind a fog wall in there, you can actually go to your map and pull it up, and you can press, I don't remember which button it is for PlayStation 4, but you can press a button and you can respawn it, and you'll respawn in with the rest of your team.
Dope.
So, I mean, it's going to put you through a loading screen right now, hopefully not in the future, but it's better than sitting behind that fog wall and trying to figure out how you're going to get to the next part of the encounter. So that is pretty cool. Justin, what do you think about some of these different fixes they got coming on?
Like I said, I'm more excited about the little stuff that they fixed, like the loading for the forge, the flying aspect, because I feel like I wasn't in the air that much as a ranger. As a storm I was, like I said, forever, but it's more the little fixes that should have came at launch that I'm really excited about more than just the content, because I feel like because as someone who didn't complete the story 100%, I can go ahead and continue and play that experience and beat the story.
You can enjoy it a little bit more.
Exactly. So
yeah. So Marlon, have you finished the story as well, or are you kind of close to the end?
I'm close to the end, but the thing for me was, remember when you were saying that it's better for you to overall to just wait until they fix some of this loot stuff until you finish the story, so you could get more loot and just basically get better rewards. That's what I've been doing. I've been slowly trying to get the story done, but I'm just doing a lot more free play, more other things around it, just to increase.
Just seeing if you can get your level up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I get it.
But some of the things that I enjoyed about the stream overall was, number one, the fact that they fixed the pilot data error. It's like, thank God that there's something.
Yeah, that's been the bane of my existence.
The fact that we're getting Elysium chests and Elysium keys, that's wonderful. Everybody loves loot. For me, I think I'm gonna have to go with Justin on this. The fact that we're getting the forge on the menu, the fact that there's not going to be such a big loading screen on it, that for me I've been asking for it since the beginning. The fact that now you can look at your menu and see right from the get-go what items you have equipped and what rarity they are and what they are, and essentially, and the fact that you're just can basically pick it out what you like. And okay, I can fix that. I can fix that. I can change that, right from without having to go to every single individual piece and check out what you actually have equipped. That is wonderful. So
Yeah.
for me, the stream had a lot of quality of life improvements. I'm really digging. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and honestly, like the stuff that we went over, I mean, this is kind of just the hot points that they hit during the stream. I mean, Jesse made mention on more than one occasion that the patch notes for this are 13 Word documents long.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Ouch.
yeah, 13 pages long. So, I mean, there's a lot
stuff there.
more
Yeah.
that's coming in with this too. I mean, these are the hot items, you know.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some other lower level items that are being fixed as well, and you know, maybe they missed one. I mean, we can just go over and cover kind of the things that they went over and covered, and talk about them. But I'm sure there's a ton of other things that are coming. There's got to be something that even they forgot to discuss, and there may be some things that they just weren't ready to disclose yet.
Maybe
either.
the final boss is a giant grabbit, you know, named Paul Tassi.
I'm gonna take on the Gravid Overlord finally. So their next stream is in the next couple of weeks. They hinted around that there's going to be some kind of major announcement at that next stream.
My prediction:
Yeah.
the Cataclysm.
Nah, I don't think it's going to be the Cataclysm, buddy.
I think they're gonna just.
They're going to show it. They're going to show a little bit of it.
No, I think they're just gonna dangle the carrot. Is what they're gonna do.
I have a
finish that
feeling that maybe
campaign
the
for them.
next. I mean, they talked about there being another stronghold coming up soon, so I kind of wonder whether they're going to preview the stronghold, the new stronghold.
Right.
Maybe. Could be.
Because I don't know if you guys saw, but like Casey Hudson, the head guy over there, basically he did like a little letter to the community the other day, and in that letter there was some photographs and some art from the game. And one of the things is that one of the other devs kind of picked it up and like showed one of the pictures again and said, what is this a picture of? So I'm kind of wondering whether that has to do with that next stronghold. That's
Interesting.
what that picture involved.
Bunch of rabbits as
You
well.
know?
That's what it was.
Because it didn't really look like any place that we've been already.
No, it looked like it's new content that's going to be shown and teased on the next stream. I'm excited for the next couple of weeks, to be honest with you, KJ. I'm excited what's going to happen with the game, and I'm excited for all this quality of life improvements. I think I can speak for a lot of Anthem players that have been on the fence about coming back and playing it, is that yes, it's taking their time to deliver some of the promises that they had originally were going to put into the game. But the fact that they are taking their time to make sure that the product that they're giving to the consumer is at least well thought out. They are listening to feedback and moving accordingly. You said it best. They are on reaction mode right now. They're not dictating what we should play and what we should do with the game. They're saying, hey, listen, it's a back and forth conversation. Things can change, but we're here and we're listening for you guys. So in that aspect, I gotta give them props, honestly.
Yeah, and one of the things that Casey Hudson said in that letter was that we'll basically end up. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for half a second there. Anyway, so one of the things that Casey Hudson brought up is that they're constantly working, towards new developments in the game.
A better experience, basically.
It's a better experience overall. And a lot of the problems that have plagued the game up until this point were not identifiable until they had millions of people playing it. Now, I don't know how much of that's excuse, how much of that is reality. But I can see where there's a difference between, having maybe a few hundred people playing it versus a few million people playing it. You're going to produce a lot more experiences and the potential of a lot more problems coming up.
You're gonna produce more data for them to, eat through, eat through and just go.
And they do have
basically.
they do have some really cool content that's coming up. Andrew, what was the thing that you were mentioning about the additional content that's coming up? The Stronger Together?
Yeah, so I was reviewing the roadmap again real quick. And I guess kind of the three things I see that was next: expanded progression system, and then I guess update 2, which is Stronger Together, which kind of shows a new stronghold, and then like guilds and leaderboards and stuff like that. So maybe that type of, maybe some of that will be covered in this next stream.
Because we're already at it'll be the 21st, right? And so 2 weeks from now, you're looking at the next live stream will be on the 3rd, roughly, nice. If they stick to this Wednesday timeline that they've been doing, be on the 3rd of April. And that'll be already into the month of April, which all of those next products are supposed to drop. So hopefully we will see maybe a new stronghold or something like that in what's coming up on this next live stream. That'd be awesome. I'm excited.
For those of you that are looking to join a guild, you can join us, the Morningside group, TMSG for short. So,
and that's on PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4. So join us.
Yeah.
Please come have fun. We don't bite. I don't know about Justin, but I know I don't bite.
And you'll know when we're playing with Morningside group. If you're like, man, where's Marlon?
Yeah, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. To be honest with you.
Speaking of Where's Marlon, we're going to take a little bit of a break from Where's Marlon this week. We did have another winner, so that was awesome. We got him out his gift card, but we are going to take a break from Where's Marlon this week. We have been growing exponentially on all social media platforms, which has been pretty cool actually to see. Getting a lot more responses, people following, things like that. Still not where, it's not like we're blowing up or something like that. We're not in any way like that, but definitely the amount of downloads that our podcast is getting from week to week. We more than doubled the amount of people downloading from week 3 to week 4, which is
like a small village experience.
That's pretty awesome. I was really excited about that. So, to the people that are out there listening, thank you very, very much for listening to, just a group of guys that enjoys having fun, playing video games in their spare time, and hanging out together. We truly appreciate you listening to us. Hopefully we're providing you with great content. We ask that you like, you share, you subscribe, you listen, you get your friends to listen, phone a friend, let them know about us if they're playing Anthem. Even if they're not playing Anthem, they're interested in the game. Have them check us out. Maybe we can convince them to jump in and place some Anthem with you. But
not even just your friends, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister.
Because my mom is listening to our podcast from week to week, which is just absolutely hilarious. She's 70 years old and she's listening.
The only way she can listen to her child nowadays.
Yeah. She listens to our podcast week to week, so that's fantastic.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Well, boys, it's time to suit up and hit the high road. Strong alone, stronger together. Freelancers,
Roll
Roll
out.
out.